All right, so let's talk about this. I was a bit surprised that it was back on the bookshelves in the bookstore, which you got banned. But anywho, um, since I just gone through a breakup, and I need to go through time and kill time and start reading books and start doing something that I've been lost. Especially when I finish or dropped out of university, I have lost the capacity on leisure reading because when you're in university, what you do is you try to read for facts, statistics, figures, arguments, and how you do this and how you do that, which I suck at it in uni. And yeah, now I've got the enjoyment back on reading back on the leisure books. All right, the lobster. The lobster at the beginning of the couple pages. So I've been making videos long as I read these books. Just get my off mind off this breakup. And yeah, the lobster. And I talk about the lobster, how they behave, and things like that. And the lobster. When I talk about lobster, I'm not talking about Australia lobster. I'm talking about the big crayfish. That's the best way to explain for Australians to know what's a lobster in America. America, they have like a huge yabbies. We have this baby yabbies, baby, and Chinese people call it 小龙虾. So we have the small like a baby, like a miniature of lobsters. But in America, they have two clams, like like a crab, like two claws and things like that. So, what is the amazing part about the female when it comes to mating selection? And one of the things that I really like the whole behavior of this lobster behavior is a dominant lobster who wants to fight. The next round, most likely, he wins the fight. The loser, apparently, he lost. Gosh, I forgot what is the word, but apparently he lost this type of chemical or stamina or maybe we have to use the word maybe in the human term, maybe it's testosterone. Maybe it decreases, and when he engaged in another fight or fighting for a hierarchy or territory or fighting for mate selection or perhaps fighting either way. And when I look at this analogy, first thing came to my mind is R's and K's. Genes war selection. Now I made this video a long while ago, but you know what? It's great to have a refresh memories on talking about this, and it's great because of now I've gone to this breakup. It's great to go back and rethink of the knowledge that I've read and learnt and things like that. So yeah. So the analogy of understanding the whole lobster thing is, a male obviously will be constantly building themselves up, constantly building, after battles, letting them know who's the biggest winner, who's the king, or who's the leadership. There's gonna be a handful of leaders, and there's gonna be a bunch of better males in the society. Now, the most important part about the whole thing is that the moment the female lobster shed her shell. Sorry, I'm looking that way because I feel more comfortable than looking at the screen. Um, and then that's how spread her bit of essence around the area. Sort of like a bear or panda or wolf, attracts the males or the strong males. The things like that, or any males. To be honest, and come together and things like that. And when you attract or not attract, you goes to a bunch of strong leaders, strong men. Those who fight for lobsters and go for, I can't say strong man, Jesus, strong lobsters, and go around them and see if they wanted to slide me that D in. That's the way how it is, and and get impregnated. All right. And they try to do that, they try to do this, they try to do that. And Obviously the male, whether the strong hierarchy male will give in or not. Now it won't be one female will fight for it. There will be heaps of lining up female lobster surrounded this, the leader male. Now this, obviously he's gonna go battles after battles, and eventually there's a weak lobster try to, or opponent try to fight for that throne, try to fight for that fame. That the celebrity status. Pretty much, it's like saying celebrity status. To be honest, if you think about it this way, all girls will drop their, if they find their that celebrity, they'll go there. They'll do anything for the celebrity, or having a secret child, or the celebrities, they always line up with girls, and celebrities and things like that. They can look handsome, they have talent, they can, I don't know, they're guitarists or dancers, or they can sing, or whatever you guys call it, or they're good at acting, they're smart, elegant, things like that. And they're lining up with girls, regardless of celebrity girls or ordinary girls, or or pleasant girls in today's world. But you can see that even a fighter. When a fighter fights one, and just girls, oh gosh, look at him, muscular and bang, You can see that in the real world, And when I was reading the book, and I was like, kind of go all the way towards the end, on the lobster analogy. Now the weak lobster, is weak. It's not the strongest, fittest, or get the best food resources, and they usually have a shorter lifespan. Now, if I use that analogy in today's world, right, what is the huge difference between elite or rich people comparison to poor people? All right, or those who want to live by. As you guys know, cost of living is high. As you guys know, nowadays you go to supermarket, you spend $40 or $50, and you come out with a shopping bag that you ask yourself, did I really spend all this just for this little shopping bag? Like, damn, that's a lot, man. Like $50 nowadays, you can't get nothing. Pretty much, that's what I'm trying to tell you. What am I trying to say? So the strong male in today's world society, right? You have the celebrity status. You have this, the fighter, the magician, or this and that, blah blah blah, whatever you guys wanting to put that way. How about ordinary workers? You could see a lot of builders, and I'm only saying that countries who have very high value, high profit in builders or the trades. You often see a lot of girls actually, chase it, like, they're masculine, they talk in a way, how they win contracts, how they persuade, how they use language, and things like that. All of us can be plumbers, all of us can be builders, but to be the best builder, to be the best, plumber, or whatever it is, regardless what's your background, nationality, you gotta know how to win it. All right, definitely, you have to know how to win it. If you don't know how to win it, then you become a weak builder or weak plumber who only just made below the standard wage of earning. Not everyone can be successful builders. All right, let's put it that way. Now, when it comes to quality wise and reputation wise, obviously that will build up along the way, right? Whatever it is, quality is always high maintenance. That's what everyone's looking at. Anyway, let's look at it in today's world. If we look at the high income earners, right? Let's just put out the trades out the box, right? If you look at the very very high wage earners, and you got to look at the STEM degree, right? Doctors, and then you got to include lawyers and things like that. And it's very funny to understand. Yeah, they earn a lot of money. These doctors, medical professions, GP, IT, gosh, what do you guys call it? Engineers. You guys name it. All right, I'm not gonna name drop anymore. All right, these guys, they earn good money. All right, they're out of the government sector, or they're in the government sector. All right, regardless, they're making high money. And when notice they earn high money. Now, if you type in what is the top 20, I made a video about it, but top 20 suicide or high suicide, or professions, and usually it's STEM degree. All right, usually the high up there is usually STEM degree. There's a lot of high numbers of STEM degree up there. You won't see, like, you get to understand farmers, and farmers makes sense because um, farmers or policemen, police, they have to see, crime scene or bodies being chopped up right in front of their face, or very traumatic event. I could sympathize that, but farmers, maybe flood, or maybe just competition wise, that kind of makes sense. Just don't include them too, but just look at the STEM degree. You look up there, you see doctors, lawyers, and one of the most amazing part is dentists, and I didn't quite understand. And dentists, they get sued, or chiropractors, they get sued, man. If you don't fix their back in the same way, or made it even worse, or their teeth made it even worse, they get sued. And plus, if you look at these professions, they get to sit on a chair a longer hours, right? Yes, they use their mentality. They have a lot of stress. Also, they go back home and they still have to work at home as well. So you have all that all together. But it's one of the highest, a suicide profession, but also, what's that word? It will create more of, if you experience high stress in your life and a long, prolonged period of time, you're most likely, the dementia is a high chances as you get older. And also when you look at it in high stress, obviously you got the fortune and everything. People say they lose hair or whatever it is, like their health declines, even though if they eaten very, like, maybe organic food or some expensive food. So with that lobster analogy, a weak person cannot fight and this and that. Those who are high profession are usually very, very intellectual, IQ, privilege in their brain. No doubt of that. They're not strong. They're not physical strong. They can be strong. I'm not saying all of them, but they're not known to be strong. They are good at what they can write. And when they do, it's important to understand how it is in today's world. And if you put the lobster analogy, but if we talking right now, is we talking as we speaking right now, as we live in a technological society at the moment. We are not talking about hunted gathered, or there's not much industrial. We have shifted away from it. It's more about service industry nowadays. We shifted from hunter gathered, very tribal, to agriculture, to industrial, and now technological. If you look back all the way down to hunter gatherer society, that's a whole different ball game. Obviously, the strong leader, the man knows how to hunt, knows how to defend the tribe, or the everything physical, it matters. And one thing that when I went to the zoo, there's fun facts they show you, they tell you, educate all of us about this animal traits, behavior, blah blah blah, whatever it is. Now I came across with the African wild dog. I have to get that photo up while I'm doing this, and he stated the hierarchies, or you guys like to call it in today's world, the alpha males or the alpha females, who tend to breed. The beta, the omega doesn't get to breed at all. And the reason behind is because they want the strongest of the strongest to be breed. The weakest, let them outbreed. Bred. I think that's the word. Outbred. I'm still going through the list, okay? Sorry, guys. And, it's funny to know that. And could you imagine what hunter-gatherer society would be like? So the leaders will have the strongest fertility, the healthiest, ladies, or ladies lining up for them. And they get impregnated, and they will go through lots of trainings with their child. They will go through all this stuff, right? Don't get me wrong, right? Nothing against all that. But in today's world, we have a supermarket or a market and there's food. There's nothing we fight for. The only thing we fight for is pretty much finding more salary or finding ways or for more money and the way of getting. Okay. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can read this, but if you guys can, oh gosh, the sunlight, oh bloody the lighting. Okay, sorry guys. If you guys can pause this, that's what I've taken a photo of the whole thing. Alright, sorry guys if you can't read, really, really sorry. I'll read it out to you. African wild dogs. A pack works together. The real strength of African wild dog is in their pack. Without each other, the pack would not survive. Working together, they are far more effective dog for back and they. Okay, the fittest dog hunt pack. Well, okay. So working together as an effective dog. The fittest dogs hunt for the pack, while those who are old or sick to hunt care for pups. They are one of the most successful hunters. All right, the fittest dog. And if you think about the fittest dog, right, the fittest dog, and it has to be the strongest. If you think about it, if you read about it, why didn't you take the photo? And for me, that tells me that, oh gosh, maybe I didn't take the photos of the other one. Jeez, why have I taken photo of this one? I don't know why. But it stated that the alpha mates the other one. Okay, so if you look at it in today's world and you look at the lining ups of the lobster analogy, that if we live back in the hunter-gatherer side, that's what it'd be like. If we live in today's world, if we are a poor, there's not much huge difference between a retail worker or a dentist. Yes, a dentist make heaps fuck load of money, or doctors or whatever. They can buy a big house, they can buy whatever luxurious things they can have. A poor person will most likely engage in junk food. Rich people would tend to be cautious what they put in their mouth. But then at the same time, those who live in high socioeconomic, have a high stress and things like that, would tend to be live less happy than the poor one. And if you look at the poor one, the poor may live and struggle, and this is where the government welfare state kicks in. You can get pensions, you can get disability payment, or whatever the payment it is, and prolong our human lifespan. I'm only speaking on those countries who has that welfare state. All right, let's just put it that way. Those countries who doesn't have a welfare state, and this is where it becomes where my missus and we didn't connect to each other, is that no matter how poor she is, no matter how incapable she is, she'll still buy a property, but she looks at a longer vision. Because she comes from a background or a society that there's no government welfare. Having a house for her, even though it can't pay off, they'll try anything to try to make the minimal or try to pay it off or whatever it is and try to prolong their life. What wealthy people do, they buy lots of properties or one of the best properties or whatever investment, regardless what you guys call it. And when they get old, they can sell one by one and they can prolong without government pensions to live longer, if you put the lobster analogy. Now, if a poor person doesn't have welfare and works in factory or things like that, doesn't accumulate much of the super because cost of living is going up and every single day, then that person will die a lot younger than the one over there. But if you have one of them has a higher suicide rate and one of the high stress, that means they have a greater chance having a mental health or depression or yada 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 along the line. So, who's the actual winner in today's world? Because if we look at in that analogy, who's the real winner? There's a high chances, and there's always a high chances, and you cannot predict the future. But I'm just saying, these are the stacks and what we're seeing in figures. This is the real life things. And the lobster thing, obviously, a lady cannot find that, a dentist or those one usually are not as very very physically attracted. I think ladies, when they find attractions, back in the days, you were arranged marriage, because this guy is fit, he can provide the family and provide the marriage or money. Back then there wasn't medication to prolong, where now human beings can survive over 80. It's like very common nowadays, or you can hit 90s or even 100s. Back in the days, your lifespan is only 50, 60, man. Back in the days, it's even less than that. Obviously, the richer you are, you can afford all the medical stuff, or everything. But in today's world, it's a different ball game. And that's why I look at this lobster analogy is a very long stretch. And unfortunately, those who works in the IT or engineer, or those who are at university, they're less likely to get on dates. If I talk to them, I speak to them. But if I speak to those who works in plumbers, carpentries, and things like that, I get to hear often that they start families and having dates, or girls are chasing after them, or girls who married to doesn't find very appealing with the STEM degrees, because they're very very high IQ. They don't have the physical, or doesn't they be very cautious what they're doing. They don't engage in like low socioeconomic or high sex drive. To be caution, use a condom, don't do something risky. They very very caution. But those are low socioeconomic. We do everything. We're like monkeys, pretty much, if you have to put it that way. They tend to struggle to find a mate. And even if they do find their mate selection, and this comes back with the lobster, they'll find someone maybe equal IQ, high IQ, or perhaps similar range, right? They wouldn't find someone like me, or a factory worker, or dentist worker, or things like that. Two high profession usually married to each other. For them to marry down, unless if a single high IQ lady is in her 40s, or her culture really kicks, her family member really kicks them really hard up the ass, saying that you gotta marry or else you're not gonna have kids, they'll marry down. But usually those who are high IQ think a lot more thoughtful than low IQ. They gotta think about, is this girl gonna, is she only for the money, divorce? There's a lot more going on when a high STEM degree, high salary thinks about when it comes to dating. They thought a lot more thoughtful. They look into the family, the structure, the things like that, the education, your wages, and your things like that. You look very deep. But as a low socioeconomic, you love me, I love you. Let's go, let's get married. It's all about based on more of a love base, or sake of we don't look at that deep. But high socioeconomic look very deep. And if you put it on the, they can have lineup of girls, but then again, they have to pick up which is the right girls. I'm not saying they can't, but they gotta fit in their little category, the little checklist. And it's not based on love. It was more based on checklists. It's all about wealth security. I know it's a long video, and I hope you guys like this lobster analogy to where it is today.